I'm going to talk about cooking and then review a product. Okay. Cooking is one of them things where I go outdoors and I start seeing hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of cooking kit, and I think it's not needed. I've never needed that. There's two things you need when you go cooking, camping. Is one, something to put your food or your liquid in. Two, something to burn it with and get it hot. So if we're looking at gas burners, you may have seen these little things that look like spiders, and they can sit on top of a gas canister, and you can cook with them. They've been around for absolutely years. You can pay £15, £20, up to £50, £60, £70 for one of these. It depending on a variety of things, like wind resistance tends to be the thing now, whether you can cook with them in the wind. It's a buyer's market, you can have a look what you want, but I've got a little bit of a tip for you that you might like today. So, generally, if you're looking at sort of trek cooking, you're going to be cooking in either a tiny porch or maybe even outside where you've got the elements in front of you. So, you need a burner that's going to be good on wind resistance. They'll quote you figures like, in a 3 mile per hour wind, it'll take you an extra 30 seconds to cook your brew. Don't really matter, does it? You want to get yourself boiling quite quickly. Also bear in mind, when you're going to use these things, you may be wet through, you may be dying for something to eat, you may be dying for a hot drink, so the less messing about you've got to do, the better. Alright? So, firstly, let's talk about what we're heating it with. Now, I'm going to review this only because I've got one, of course, and because I've not seen a real lot of good reviews about it, and they've come down in price quite rapid. I don't work for Coleman, I haven't got any links with anybody, I'm just telling you what I like to see. Okay. Now, in this, it's a Fyrestorm PCS, okay, personal cooking system. You might think that looks a bit like the Jetboil. It does. Jetboil, I think, Onyx has got one out. There's a few of these things starting to crop up now, and some of them are ridiculous prices. Okay. What this gives you is that to travel with. It's not too heavy, and it does all it needs. You've got sort of all you need to do with it, because, and I'll show you. This lid, for example, you won't be able to see it, but it's got where you can sort of drain your water off, and the little sip part if you want to just sip your fluid if it's really terrible weather. If it's really that bad, good luck to you. But basically that lid sits on the top of that. In here is the gas burner from Coleman. So it's a Fyrestorm gas burner. I think it's called that anyway. And these are about, at the moment, £45, £35. So they're not cheap, but they're nice, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then obviously in the pot, you can put your can. So this comes off there, and there's your gas. It's a standard 300 performance gas by Coleman. It works really low temperatures. Mixture of butane and propane. So when they're mixed, the propane stops them sort of freezing. So pure butane can freeze, but if you're in minus 10 and 12, yeah, I don't think I'd want to be in minus 10 and 12 to ever test it. But, you know, on freezing days, these are going to work fine. And they are really good. Not too bad a price. You'll get about an hour and a half cooking out of these, roughly. That doesn't sound a lot, but if you're talking about 2 or 3 minutes to cook up a brew, you're only talking about 5 minutes, 6 minutes for a bit of soup. Right, so think about it that way. So if I'm going away for a couple of days, and I know all I'm going to need is some really basic stuff, I'll just take this. It's straightforward. Now, the reason I'm talking to you about this at the moment is that these have come down in price to about 55 quid. The burner's worth nearly that. So you get the massive big, and it's a litre and a quarter pot. It's non-stick, and it's got a neoprene handle so you ain't going to burn yourself to death when you've cooked. What does this do? Right, I'll show you what this does. You put this on the bottom, and then that sits on top of your burner, nice and steady. So when you get your burner, you pull the little legs out like that and it steadies it. You can put ground pegs into this as well to really sort of secure it down, and I'm going to tell you why I prefer this type to the Jetboil. Now the Jetboil is different. The Jetboil burners don't have a pipe, they sit on top, like a lot of burners do, not just Jetboil, on top of the can like that. Okay, now they're fine. Tell you why I don't like them is if you've got a big heavy pot of a litre's worth of fluid, you've got quite a bit of heat there, you've got a risk of it falling over. Alright, even if you've got one of these smaller cans that aren't very heavy, which are about half the size, you've got a risk of it falling over. I like these because I can get it onto the ground. Okay, I can peg it if I need to, I can put some bricks around it, and I've got a cooking stove that ain't going to go anywhere, it can't fall over, I can put whatever I want on it and I ain't got to worry. Because if you're using something like a mess tin, and I love these, if you look at something like a mess tin and that's quite heavy, then if you're up here too, then, you know, you've got stability to think about. It's not a massive one, but for me, I just prefer it. I've used these that stand up. I just prefer to have them on the ground where I can get a little bit of a setup with some rocks and stuff and get myself a camping area which I can sort of leave, because you can take your gas away with you, leave that sort of setup, or even just leave it set up. If you buy a second burner, then you can take that away with you and leave that in your base, ready to go. Okay. Again, so that's the difference between this Coleman one and the Jetboil. Coleman do these that go on top of the cans. All right, it's your choice. Okay, but that's just how I feel. Now, to get these working, and these are amazing, and in a minute you're going to see why. These will take winds. Now, I haven't been on the Coleman site, so I can't tell you what, but I've used this twice now with a decent amount of wind, and it doesn't really bother it. Particularly if you're using it like that, because that grill as well keeps the wind away. So you can reasonably happily say that outside with a good bit of wind, you ain't going to worry. Okay? If you're using it like that, then obviously there's a bit less gad, but even then I'll show you when I blow it just how sort of resistance it is. Okay, right, so it works like this. You screw that onto the thing. Incredibly safe these things are. Okay, that's what I like about them. You can pop that anywhere you like that, so you can keep it nicely out of the way. So you can have your bricks around there. You can keep your can nice and away from the heat as well. So you're going to turn it on. You might get a bit of mist, and then you're going to use the piezo. Woohoo! Now that is a flame, alright? You can turn it down. Okay, but that is over 2 kilowatts of heat. As you can see now, I'm going to blow it. If you felt it in here, it's hot, alright? But that is what you're talking about. Now, it comes with a piezo ignition. People say you don't really need that. Try lighting one of these in 10 mile an hour wind. Okay, with a match or a lighter, and you'll find out why. Okay, so if you can get one with a little piezo in hand like this, get one, because this ain't about being cool and oh yeah, I use pure matches. It's not about that, is it? This is about getting you into something, you enjoying it, and making it really easy. Because trust me, when you're hot, looking for a hot drink, and you're freezing cold and you're wet, the quicker this goes, the better for you. Because while this is bubbling away with your brew, yeah, you're going to be an happy person. You're going to come back, that's bubbling away, and suddenly your life's happy again. Now, you only sort of draw back with these, I suppose. You don't have to have that on the bottom, by the way. You can take that off, so you can leave that on top of the burner if you like. You can just put it on like that. People will say, well, you can't cook and use your drink at the same time. Fair point, it's never bothered me, to be perfectly honest, because I want my brew first and then I'll think about tea, but that's just how I am. Alright? Down at the moment, about 55 quid. A really good buy. However, I'm not here to sell anything, I'm just here to tell you what's what. If you just want to buy a burner like this, then keep your eyes out. Don't spend too much money, they all do the same thing. Don't go, oh, I want a 3 kilowatt one because that's only a 2 kilowatt. You won't care. You know, does it matter about 30 seconds with the heater? You know, it's going to take a bit quicker to boil your thing. You're not going to really care, okay? But yeah, you can buy these on top or buy these without. Okay. All I can say is I love this, but there's 2 things I hate about it. And Coleman, please, if anybody from Coleman's watching, don't do it again because it's such a stupid fail. When you pack this away, you put your gas in first, right? And that's it. It's nicely at the bottom like that. Okay? That then enables you to fold this round, and it ain't easy. I'm not even going to pretend it is. Fold this round and then pop that inside here. Now, because there's a real risk of scratching, they give you a piece of material. That's cheap, Coleman. Why not a bag? Alright? Because you don't want to scratch the non-stick. It's really handy when you're cooking. And that is just, to me, it's tight. There's no need for that. So they should have put a bag with it. The second thing I'm going to grumble about, and these are small things, but I'm just going to grumble about it, is that, as you notice, slots. I don't know if I can really show you it, but inside there's like little gradients like that. Oh, I can't really show you. It's not very clever, is it? Little gradients, see there, like you see. And they go fit into that like that, so it can't come off. You would think that, because once it's turned it locks, this don't lock, and it winds me up. Because you put that on, you find it where it's touching it, And if you don't get it right, it comes off again. Why they didn't put a lock stop on it so you can clunk it into place, I really don't know. Come on, Coleman, you're brilliant. But, fab, apart from that. I like the fact that you don't have to, I like the fact you've got a lot of cooking spot, for yourself and another person, you can easily get a nice stew into that. Alright, good to travel with, don't weigh a ton. The burner it comes with is absolutely cracking, and it is. You saw it's like an F16, isn't it, if one exists. So, yeah, so that's that. Alright, so a quick talk then about cooking pots and stuff like that. Don't spend a fortune in what is only going to have a bit of stew or a bit of food in it. Don't buy a lot. There's no need. My tip is, get the minimum, get the cheap stuff, go away, see how you get on. And if you sat there thinking, God, I really wish I'd have had a saucepan and an extra frying pan, then go get one. But you won't. Trust me, you won't. If you're not family camping, yeah, you need your pots and pans because you might be wanting some sausages and, the beans for the kids. But trust me, you can do nearly everything in one pot anyway if you use your noddle a bit. So, to recommend, something to start with, nice and light, you can get them for £2 at the army store, is a mess tin. It folds over like that. You can buy them in a kit. I'll show you them in a minute. You can buy it in a kit, put it like that. That's all you're ever going to need, trust me. That folds away, don't weigh nothing. If you knacker them, if you scratch them, if you batter them, you chuck them in the bin and you buy another one. Well, you recycle it, sorry, it should be cool nowadays, shouldn't it? But they're great, absolutely great. There's a reason why the army and NATO use them, isn't they, and they still do. It's because they're good, alright? You bang it on top of your cooker and you're laughing, alright? 2 of these, you're off. But there is something I do quite like, alright? And you'll see these flying about. Now, there is some seriously expensive versions of the same thing, alright? Don't fall for it, alright? Is these. They come in a little bag, and I quite like these. I've got to admit, I like them, I think, because I like compact sort of little things that do the sort of cool. This comes with a little. That is the best thing ever because always get a wooden spatula or a wooden spoon for whenever you're camping cooking because you won't scratch things and actually it's dead easy. That is brilliant, that little spatula. I've never actually used this, I don't think. I ain't used a pan. Comes a little thing that you can fry on. It's non-stick, but it's cheap, so it ain't going to last forever, so don't use wood, alright? Comes a little frying pan. It even comes with a thing to wash it with. I don't know what that is. Like a sponge thing. And then a little spoon, I think, to maybe have a brew. Not good enough for me, me and my brews. And then a couple of these to eat with. So it's actually a cooking system for 2 people. And of course, you've got your little casserole pot. So if I was going away with somebody else, or I thought I was away for a while and I might be a bit elaborate, then maybe I'd use this. They're great. You can buy them for next to now. It's even got a lid. How cool is that, right? And actually, yeah, I've used that one. It ain't a bad thing. Now, you can spend a bomb on copies, on versions of this. Shop around, get a cheap one. I think I only picked this up for about a tenner. Alright, you really don't. There's some that are going for 30, 40 quid because they're made out of some fancy thing. Not yet. See how you get on first. If you really do use it a lot and you want to buy the most expensive version, then do it, but you might not. These are about £12 and the same deal, but I quite like them because they're made out of silicone. They're really strong, but they're not flimsy and stupid. And the plastic, so you're not going to scratch your pots. Alright? You can buy sort of metal sets. It's entirely up to you. You can even take a knife and fork from your house. It doesn't matter. But I really like these because they're just they're nice and strong. They're not going to break. And they do the job. Buy what you like, really. It's whatever you're going to fancy. You'll never use your fork anyway, to be honest. So that's cooking. Some little tips for you. So, number 1, start off with basics and see how you get on. You might get into cooking and really want a couple of pots on. You might want something fancy, but all the burners do roughly the same thing. Don't get something that's good for -20 and 30 mile an hour if you know fair well you're never going to be in that sort of environment, alright? Even in the Vanguard that I've got, you can get a bit of shelter. I don't need that sort of level of wind resistance. And if I do, I'm probably camping in the wrong place because that's never my plan, is to go into Antarctic conditions, alright? Yeah, it gets cold up Scotland, but we're not looking at, -20 and 30 mile an hour wind. Well, 30 mile an hour winds, yeah. But temperature-wise, so don't be conned into spending a lot of money. Get yourself a mess tin, a standard burner and a cheap bit of gas and have a laugh and see how you get on.